First off, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to those elders and apostles out there from Great Millstone who teach and rule well. A lot of respect to you brothers out there on the highways and byways preaching this truth around the four corners of the earth. And salutations to the hopeful that you guys may be sealed soon. And with that, this your brother Dewad Bar from the branch of GMS here in Chicago, coming right back at you with a little lesson. And as you see on my phone screen here, I got this guy, comedian Shula King. Every now and then he has some clips where he might show something that that you can make a lesson off of, and this is one of them. I'm going to sit up here and let him talk, but it says, Shula King, what kind of boom is that? And it's referring to the weapon that military guy is holding. And I'm going to explain what that weapon is in a moment. But I'm going to let him go ahead and just say a few words. With that, I just want to sit up and get the Copyright Act of 1976. I am not using this for any monetarily or financial gain. I am using this strictly for educational and teaching purposes only. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and just let him play for some seconds, and then, get a few scriptures.
Ladies and gentlemen, they say this is one of the guards at the Pope's funeral. This man has a weapon that I have never seen before. I don't know where they came up with this from. Who created this? Like, you got to create, build. This is like a late. What is that gun for? Who you shoot that, sir? Who you think gonna show up? Huh? At the Pope funeral, who exactly are y'all expecting? Who?
So I'm gonna leave it there. It's not too much I wanted him really to say. After that, he's gonna say some other stuff. But with that being said, the weapon that he's holding is a drone jammer. I happened to look it up. It's called a drone jammer. So in here, I'm finna just sit up here and grab just show it. So here, before I show the pictures, I'm gonna go into. It's a drone jammer. Now I'm going to read. A drone jammer can disrupt the communication between a drone and its operator, but their effectiveness varies. They work by interfering with the drone's control signal, potentially forcing it to return home, hover, or land. However, they are not foolproof and may not work against all drone models, especially those with backup systems or those that fly on pre-programmed paths. Additionally, drone jammers are illegal in many countries, including the U.S. So there you go. So that's a drone jammer. And as you see, I'm finna show a few images. Those are drone jammers. If you see the weapon in that dude's hand, it looks damn near similar to a few of these, especially this one down here. And actually, even this one up here, and this one right there. So that was a drone jammer. But getting to the point that, hey, Esau got all sorts of weaponry out there because his blessing was the sword, man. When all hell break loose, this motherfucker gonna pull out the non-stops. And here's another thing. If they got drone jammers that can sit up here and disrupt the systems inside a drone, what makes you think that they cannot disrupt? They don't have something out there that could actually disrupt a helicopter or an airplane. Esau got a lot of weapons out there, man. Not only that, they got weapons that could control weather. They got all sorts of weaponry out there, man. You people about to find out just the blessing that the Lord gave these bastards. So with that, man, I'm gonna sit up here and grab a few scriptures. And the first one I want to sit up here and grab is Genesis, because this was Esau's blessing. This is Genesis 27. You can go further down. I'm just going to go sort of to the point. This is Genesis 27 and 37. And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given it to him for servants. And with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? So Isaac is letting Esau know that Jacob has gotten the blessing. Jacob has gotten that blessing. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered him and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. You know, but what did it say in Genesis 27:40? And by thy sword shalt thou live. So his blessing was the sword. That was the blessing that he had got. And the sword back then was a sword. You had your axes, you had your knives, you had your spears, your bow and arrows, your catapults. But now look at the modern day sword. It's your guns, your missiles, your bombs, your hand grenades, your anti-tank rockets, and all that other stuff. These are the weapons now that Esau uses, you know, and he's quite efficient at it. There's a video out where this so-called black man sit up here said that, you know, it's time to take on a group of people. And so the so-called white man said, wait a minute, how you going to do that? We train with our weapons. We do everything with our weapons, do y'all? And he's right. The average nigga don't do shit with a weapon. The average nigga don't go to a gun range. The average nigga doesn't hunt. You know, that was Esau's blessing, not you so-called black, Latinos, and Native Americans. That's Esau's blessing, the weapon. Our weapons are not carnal. We are spiritual people. Esau is a carnal person. And a lot of our people are very carnal in this world. You know. With that, let me sit up here and grab this Revelations real quick. This is Revelations chapter 13. I'm gonna go down to, I'm gonna start at 10. I'm gonna read down to about 13. This is Revelations 13 and 10. And it says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints, and that's what we're waiting on, you know. These devils, they put us in captivity along with some of these other nations. They killed us all day long, beat us, ravished our women, ravished our men, did all sorts of fucked up shit. And they're going to pay for it. This is what we're waiting on. But here's the point that I want to wait. And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And them two horns like a lamb, that's your Democrats and your Republicans, man. But, you know, and they spake as dragon, and that's coming with them draconian laws, man. You know. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And that's talking about the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire, and that's what America, aka Babylon the Great, it follows. That after the Roman Empire was the only one that had a senate. You know, it was the first one that stood up here and had a senate. Everybody else had kings, but this was the first one that developed a senate. You know, and forgive me for not remembering the two parties back then, but now you got the Democrats and the Republicans. You know. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth of them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And that deadly wound being that the Roman Empire it's coming back. So this was Roman 2.0, you know. It wasn't totally wiped out back then, but it's about to get wiped out in the time that we're coming in, you know. And like I said, Esau fashions himself after that civilization, you know. And then, but here's the point. It says Revelations 13 and 13, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth and in the sight of men. And there you go. And that's not just talking about when you see Hiroshima and Nagasaki with the bombs that dropped on them, which killed a few million people. But you're talking about throughout the years, Esau has used these bombs, his weaponry, to sit up here and take everything, you know. And as time goes on, they weaponry got better, you know. And how much more do you think it is in this time right here? And you're talking about a drone jammer. Now just sit up here and think about it. Like I said before, their weapons could probably jam helicopters, probably could jam airplanes. Lord knows there's some of the stuff they can do. Probably disrupt your mind if you stand in a distance from them. These motherfuckers got all sorts of shit. And when Jacob's trouble come, and when that order out of chaos, when that martial law comes and all that other stuff, but especially Jacob's trouble, what weapons you think they're gonna use? You know, they got these robot dogs, you know. It's just a matter of time, man, before they use these things. But this is Esau's blessing, weapons. And even when you go into Psalms, when you go into King David, Psalms, which one is it? Salaki, I want to say it's about maybe 17. I could be wrong. Yeah, here it is. This is Psalms 17 and 13. Arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. Who's the wicked? Esau, Edom, you know? And he's the Lord's whipping stick right now. He's the Lord's rod of anger for you so-called black Latinos and Native Americans, you Israelites of the Bible, man. Because we kept on going off. And this motherfucker got all sorts of weaponry, man. But here it is. King David is talking about, hey, disappoint him and deliver me from these damn devils. And that's the thing that we're talking about right now, man. Delivering us from these damn devils. You know, you sit up here, you can't fight a motherfucker whose blessing was the sword. The Lord gave him the blessing of a sword. He's a carnal motherfucker. Esau is carnal. You know? And let me sit up here and get that. This is this might be 2 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians 10. Here it is, 2 Corinthians 10, or 3. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. Yes, we might be in the flesh, but that's not who we are as people. We spiritual people. Right now, we in these chains of darkness. We in this flesh. This flesh is a curse. We are subject to it. But the elect are going to fight the flesh at every turn all the time, man. Because we're praying and hoping for mercy and salvation. So even though it says we walk in the flesh, we don't war after flesh. We don't lust like everybody, like 2/3 of our people do. But here's the point. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh to the pulling down of strongholds. And that's the thing. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. We're spiritual people. Esau is a carnal. The Edomites are a carnal-minded. The so-called white man is a carnal-minded person. Everything he threw is carnal-minded. Everything he threw is through the lust of his flesh. But his time is coming to an end. But a lot of you so-called Jakes, you 2/3 motherfuckers, love being carnal just as well. And just because you got weapons, you think you're going to be able to take Esau on. Yeah, some of y'all going to get it. Yeah. Some of y'all going to get down. But that's Esau's blessing. Esau's blessing, he's going to get down. This motherfucker going to put out shit that you never heard of. That's just the point, But hey, I was sitting up here looking at that video, man, and it kind of interests me, and I thought I'd just do some type of lesson on it. And I hope this was edifying. I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to those elders and apostles out there from Great Millstone who teach and rule well. A lot of respect to you brothers out there on the highways and byways preaching this truth around the four corners of the earth. And salutations to the hopeful elect that you guys may be sealed soon. And with that, I always say stay prayed up, brothers. Pray for each other because we're almost up out of here. So with that, I'd like to say Kwam Yasharella and Abba Babal and Anya Habatham Malakiam Shalom.